For Session Update, I'm Shannon Lurkey. Senate higher education leaders hosted a Twitter town hall on Wednesday, May 11th to take questions and hear concerns from students around the state. Senator Terry Bonoff, Senator Greg Clausen, Senator Kevin Dahl, and staffers gathered around a conference table at the Minnesota Senate building to view and respond to incoming tweets. Student questions ranged from administrative costs and on-campus sexual assaults to concerns about mental health and equity. Senator Bonoff said that Twitter town halls are a wonderful way for students across the state to join the conversation and have their voices heard.
We have been doing these Twitter town halls for the last few years for higher education, and what we learn is that students are really engaged. But actually, I learned that as soon as I became higher ed chair. We toured the state. We went to 20 colleges and universities and had town halls that weren't virtual, that actually were real town halls, and we listened to students talk about their despair around student debt, around their concern about getting a job when they're done, and around their concern with regard to the transfer of credits. And because of listening to those students, we actually have shaped huge policy changes over the last several years. And so like today, listening to a Twitter town hall, and the students say, how come administration costs grow when our debt burden is so high? How can that be? And so I get to hear firsthand that these issues really concern our students. They're very engaged, and it's our job and our duty to respond to them.
Senator Terry Bonoff's leadership in higher education has garnered national attention, and she offered her perspective on presidential candidate Bernie Sanders' call for free tuition.
That's not our approach to meeting the challenges of our times, and here's why. I think when you look at our completion rates, when you look at the inability of students to get jobs, it's not just about the money. It's about something much deeper. You know, in generations before, and even when I raised my kids, the family unit was so tight, and they just pushed those kids through, and we said, you go to college, you graduate, and then we helped them find jobs. There are so many students who don't have that support right now. So just opening up the doors and saying, oh, you can all go free, does not solve those challenges. In fact, we've taken a much different strategic approach to the problem, and we've launched something entirely different, a new way to educate our post-secondary students. We created a project called the Pipeline Project, which says when a student leaves high school, they get hired by a company at the same time as they go to college for a job that they're not yet ready for. And so we've picked 4 industries to start it in, and then we drill down, and for each industry we picked 3 jobs. And so the students work for a company to be on the job trained. They get their degree, and when they're done, they have a job. So the difference between that model and what the presidential candidates talk about is that this is around, number one, they have money in their pocket because they're getting wages for their job. Number 2, the state's share is not just going to free college, but it's providing tuition help for students who we know will then be valuable to the workforce because they'll have that job and they'll have that training. So I think the return on investment is the stronger, smarter return on the investment, and it actually moves our country forward.
She also encourages students to reach out to their college or university student government to engage in the process.
Well, the Twitter town hall is a wonderful example where they don't have to be any particular place. They can just jump on Twitter and join the conversation. And each of our colleges and universities has their student senate groups whereby they can get connected. So if they can reach out to the leaders of those groups and say, I want my voice heard, they can find out when, where, and how. And I think that's really key, is to be engaged.